Sorry about that. I whacked my microphone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are out there.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It's so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is December 1st, 2020. We're going to write a little bit of code today. How we doing there, chat room? Hello, hello. Look at that. The bot already knows. I'm wearing my Github hat. See that? You got it. It's a bright sunny day outside, a lot better than it was yesterday, let me tell you. We actually had a tornado touchdown here in the Philadelphia suburbs near me, and oh my gosh, and let me come back to that in just a second. And it knocked out power here for a good chunk of the afternoon. That was a thrill. That's a fine excuse to lose power. Better to lose power than some folks saw some significant damage. That was a real mess out there. Blazor, thank you so much for 3 months of subscription, and we'll make another donation like we've been doing all fall here, all autumn, to Girls Who Code. Thank you so much for that. Let me show you. How you doing there, chat room? It's been hopping in the chat room already. Look at this. Blazio's here, Kabazi, Boo the Bow, hey there, Viral Flows, it's Mahesh Korea, I'm sorry about that. Good to see you. Ergenrod, M. Pulowski, Jay Roseguard, good afternoon to you. Hello, all our friends there. CMJIO, is that Sokhyang KH, good evening to you. Hello, hello. Nice and sunny in the UK for Diddle Dan. Glad to hear that. Congratulations. Happy having a great day there. Caparino, good to see you. Yeah, there's the hat. Tail Learn Code, another member of the Live Coders. Good to see you. Apricot, hello, hello. Is that Guacamole? Hello, welcome in. Yes, I have my GitHub hat. GitHub Fritz, indeed. Grumph, hello, good morning to you. The Beebs? Justin, is it you? Looking forward to the Blazor. Yes, we're gonna have some Blazor fun today. I'm almost done my coffee already. This can't be good. Not that one, the other one. All right. Thank you for the update. Let me get some music playing here in the background. We'll talk about the project we're going to work through today. I don't want to necessarily go for the full 4 hours today. I think we're only going to go for 2 or 3 because I do have a couple other things that I'm a little bit behind on. Like I said, I was knocked offline for a good chunk of yesterday afternoon. So we'll get back into a couple things this afternoon that I need to finish up. Let me play some. There we go. Let me play some music to code by here, and today let's play Orange. There it is. This is music to code by our friend Mr. Carl Franklin. It's music that's scientifically designed. It's engineered to get you in the flow, to get you in the groove, so that whatever task it is you're working on, you can just focus on and get stuff done. Check it out, mtcb.pwop.com, where you can execute the music command there in the chat room and get a link to get your copy today. They're free. So, well, the first 3 songs are free. So, that's really cool. All right. So we've been working with Blazor Static Web Apps. Yeah, that feels really loud. And I'm of course adjusting the wrong volume slider here. There we go. Hat not found? No, it's there. It found it just a few minutes ago. It's because the logo is so small, it's hard. So, weather yesterday, let's see. So we've been working on this website, Clip Talk, a mashup of Twitch clips and TikTok social sharing and user interface. I did some tinkering with this Sunday night, and I got into a state where I was trying to reduce the number of queries that we were running just to bring back the number of likes or the number of comments. And I put in a call so that instead of aggregating, counting those values in other tables whenever we returned information about various clips that we were going to present, I turned it around and said, you know what, just denormalize. Just Every time you insert a new record that says, oh, I like this video, or here's a new comment, just recount them and store the count on the parent clip record. Well, wouldn't you know, I was scheduling that denormalization, that calculation, using a queue. So after we insert the record, drop an entry on the queue so that it goes and recalculates the totals for that clip. You can't run queue triggers inside a static web app. Who knew? Because that wasn't entirely documented, right? I just wanted to do it, and I couldn't. So, I want to migrate that function and a little bit of that interaction over into an Azure function app that's dedicated, that we can deploy using GitHub Actions, just like we're doing right now for all the other things. And since, right, I think we've got just about all the other bug fixes. I still need to get into the virtualization of how we paint the screen, but I want to get into the comment system today. How do we create comments? How do we present those in the Blazor Static app? And this should be pretty straightforward, because we're just going to be fetching data, presenting it on screen, and when you add a comment, define, well, here's the parent record that I'm commenting on, and send that into our Azure table storage. So that's where I want to go today. It feels like simple CRUD interactions, but we'll see what's involved there. Oh my gosh, let me put up that is a fine comment from MJN Air. Let me put this up. I'm happy to hear this. First time catching the stream, but want to thank me for the C# Fundamentals series you've been watching through YouTube. Oh my gosh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. You've never understood so much of what I'm seeing. Well, that's tremendous. Thank you so much for that. There's a button here. There we go. That is very kind of you. Yeah, we're continuing that. We're going to be doing more of that. So that's a little bit of what I need to do today. Is I have a couple episodes that I've been editing, and I was going to publish yesterday, and I've got a blog post announcing season 2 that I was going to publish today, but I lost the afternoon yesterday. So so I've got to get that queued up and redeployed here. That's a little bit of my afternoon today. But thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Hey there, invisible programmer. Hello, hello. I'm done my coffee. This is not good. How can we be out of... You, get over to the other table. And we'll bring the G Fuel over. All right. Stelzy! 25... I don't know why I didn't get the alert. I should be getting... Oh, no, it isn't on the screen. Stelzy with 25 months on Twitch Prime. Or Amazon Prime Gaming, Twitch, Prime Optimus, Rodimus, whatever it's called. Thank you so much. We're going to make another donation to Girls Who Code. All of our subs, all of our cheers, we donate to Girls Who Code this autumn. We want to support them and their efforts and their goals to make sure that young ladies, young women are introduced to software, to development technologies, and they get to see some of that magic that we experience as developers when you write code and you see and you get stuff working. Thank you so much. I'm happy to pay it forward and support Girls Who Code, and I really appreciate your support as well. First is the SQL and the Cosmos no SQL? No, I'm using Azure Table. Yes, Caparino asks, and that's a fine question. There we go, right here. And I'm going to queue up this comment also. Am I using Azure Table Storage? Yes. What's the difference between Azure Table Storage and Cosmos DB? Cosmos DB is more like MongoDB. It's very NoSQL. Table storage is very much like a catalog. It's a straight record. There is all of the JSON back and forth stuff that's not there. Cosmos DB has some additional keys and things. Wow. Okay. has some additional keys and features and replication. Cosmos DB really is intended for more of an enterprise scale interaction, which I'm not doing. I don't. Which also means it's significantly more expensive, which I'm trying to avoid because I don't need that. I don't want to be concerned and wrapped up in exactly all of that performance maintenance management stuff that is important for an enterprise grade database, but quite frankly I don't need. I mean, I've got 3 tables: comments, likes, clips. Do I need a really big database for that? No. I just need lots of records and be able to sort through them very quickly. You got sponged with a gift sub into the channel. Congratulations, CMJIO. You just got a gift sub, and we're gonna make another donation to Girls Who Code. Thank you so much for that support. Really appreciate that. Gosh, there's a where'd it go? Yes, we need very, very tall tables. Developer says here, finally able to catch the stream. Been watching the 12-hour stream for days now. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for watching that, and I'm glad you enjoy. Yeah. Really appreciate that. Taylor and Code points out about table storage. Cosmos DB does support the table API. So this is right. You're seeing you're seeing the organizational responsibilities of Microsoft. You're seeing that instead of keeping these as 2 separate services and table storage, which actually resides in a storage account, is now managed by Cosmos DB, and the way that you manage and interact with the API is not through the storage APIs, is through the Cosmos APIs. That's not confusing. Yes, it is. It really is. Because now I'm chasing APIs. Is it the Microsoft Windows Azure Storage API? Is it the is it the Microsoft Azure Storage API? Is it the Microsoft Azure Storage API? Or is it the Microsoft Azure Cosmos API? I'm chasing these things.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too.
I'm chasing them around, and some work for functions. I'm using, right, when you configure a functions app, it gives you the Windows Azure Storage APIs. However, as soon as you start connecting to Cloud Table objects to start interacting with it, it wants to bring in Microsoft Azure Storage APIs. But if you need the latest version of them because you're working with .NET Core, you need the Microsoft Azure Cosmos APIs. Confused yet? So there's a thing there that I'm chasing. So Eagle Hansen points out, and this is a very good point. I'll happy to share that. Taylor and Code, the table API in Cosmos is way overkill for most folks. Like I said, if you need to partition, you need to replicate across regions, fantastic. Cosmos has that scale, has that capability to do that. But it's not right. I've got a small little application. At some point, I may migrate to it. That's another good reason to have a repository pattern. If I start to push on the limits of Azure table storage, I mean, I've only got 3 tables, collections. When I start to push on the edges of that and I feel the performance edges, I can migrate to Cosmos, migrate all that data to Cosmos, swap out my implementation inside of my repository objects that I've defined, right? Here's where interfaces and class definitions really are going to work well. So I just changed that mapping, and everything should still work because my functions continue to work with just the repository interface. The actual concrete implementation and where it fetches data from changes. I could put it in Cosmos, I could put it in Azure SQL, I could put it in MongoDB. my implementation will flex and go with me. Hey, Steven, good to see you. Yeah, the table storage documentation, some of it moved to Cosmos. So, providing that data storage abstraction is going to give me that flexibility with my cloud provider. As my data grows and changes, I can change my mappings inside of my concrete implementation. Heck, deploy a whole new concrete implementation. Table, right? Instead of calling my stuff Twitch Clip Repository, maybe it's Twitch Clip Cosmos Repository, and I just change the mapping in my application when I do the migration, and everything just continues working. So it's a good design pattern. Hey, Dev Nelson in Brazil, good morning to you. Java's making your life sad, Faux Hammer. Oh no. Oh. So there are many different data services, cloud services that are available to you that you can bounce around and choose and use. Yes, Eagle, so this is something, don't use HTTP client directly in your Blazor components. I try to use the iHTTP client, and I always, in this app that we've been building, I've been using the HTTP client directly, but this isn't a bad tip. If you use iHTTP client, you're going to be injected the real one, but if you use the iHTTP client, you can mock things out. Or wrap it in a service. Yeah. Right, and that's some refactoring that I can do. I'm working natively with the HTTP client in my Blazor app here. That's definitely a refactoring we can consider. So, can you use Entity Framework and Identity with Azure Table Storage? I don't think so. I haven't tried. Shouldn't we be using HTTP Factory? When you're in Blazor, no. There's one HTTP object, and the browser manages its state very well because that's what the browser does. If you're in Blazor server side, yes, you do. Yes, you should be using HTTP Factory, right? And that's a question around the state of how the server manages all the requests that it's getting to create HTTP clients, right? The clients that are going to go get data from other web servers, interact with other web servers. You want those to be knocked down and recreated appropriately for the scale that your web server is going to hit. Otherwise, you start to hit pressure. You'll hit network pressure on the number of requests coming into your server, managing those web requests, and the web requests going out. You're going to get throttled on how the machine is processing and handling those. Oh my gosh, Svava! Yes, that's right. It's the beard that steals viewers. That was a joke from... That's right. The beard that steals viewers. The more you know. That was a joke from last night I was on with Fierce Kittens, hanging in the background and chatting with her, some witty banter while she was writing some code. We were talking about software dev. Let me get over to the code here, and we can talk a little bit, and maybe we should, there we go. I'm not even going to go to the code. I'm going to go to the issue list of the project that we're working on. It's right over here. Let me show you. I didn't even check my configuration over here, make sure I had the green screen set up right. See, look at that over there. Jeremy Knight!
Jeremy Knight _me just resubscribed for 17 months. It compiles. Ship it.
You're spot on there. Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to get that little bit of green right there. Oh, good. It's gone. Thank you so much. 17 months. That is tremendous. And we're gonna make another donation to Girls Who Code. Thank you so much. So I was working on this bit here, but I want to take that comment from Eagle and let me just write that up here. In Blazor client, clip client, refactor. That's not refactor. That's still not refactor. There it is. HTTP injection to use services. It's not really a bug. I'm going to make it an enhancement, just because it's not something that I need to do immediately. It's not preventing the application from running, but it's definitely something that's going to make the code cleaner and help with the evolution of this thing. Let me head back to my list of issues here. I was working on this. Refactor the backend service functions into a separate app. I was trying to pull this apart so that I was managing data a little bit easier inside of my tables. So I have, and let me bring up and show you Azure Storage Explorer here, and to Eagle's question there, I'll need to partition the comments, likes, etc. So what I have here, right? So here's my Twitch clip table. Thank you. Right. So there's a partition key and a row key. The partition key is the broadcaster, the Twitch channel ID. It's replicated here, but no matter. And the row key is the string primary key, the identifier that Twitch uses for those clips. So, and these are all nonsense words that they glued together to form a GUID instead of using a 16-character GUID like we're used to seeing as .NET developers. They put together words. These words mean nothing. They're chosen randomly, but that's how they're making a unique identifier. So I partition by the broadcaster, and the row keys are those unique IDs for each clip. So that makes it easy for me to go and say, well, go get me all of the clips from these folks that I'm following. Well, I can just sort by partition key and go get the latest timestamp over the last day or two. But when I look at the likes table, I don't have comments yet. We haven't built that. My partition key is that clip ID, that string that is that unique identifier. And the row key then is the user ID, the Twitch unique user ID for the user that liked that clip. Easy, right? And I've still got these two fields replicated over here, which I could probably get rid of. So, C# is a very sharp language. Yes, indeed. So, we're working on it. We're getting better. Vidal asks, how do you make a one-to-many relationship in Entity Framework? I need to publish my Entity Framework video from earlier. It was last week. Entity Framework Core is real easy. Just create an list collection in the class that you want to have the one side of the relationship, and create a foreign key, right? Whatever that ID is in the side that should have the many part of the relationship. I have a video that I need to publish today, and that's why I'm going to end early, that has information on that. You can check out the C# with C# Fritz GitHub repository. Go to my GitHub, ! GitHub will give you that link. Check the repository, C# with C# Fritz, and look for episode 12. You'll see the Entity Framework notes in there, and there's information about how to do that in there. Yes, there's an example in there. There's sample code in that repository, in that folder of the repository, that'll show you how that's done. Thank you, Blazor, for sharing the GitHub link. So this is how my tables are set up. Notice none of my tables are named Robert. Anyways, so the idea was, inside of my clip table, I want to add... Look at this. Why isn't that lined up? That should be lined up nicely. I want to add a column for the number of likes and the number of comments, so that when I fetch my list of clips to present, I don't have to go and recount all of those. I just need to go and identify the ones that you, the user, like, in order to turn on and turn off the like button on the user interface. That's easy. Thank you, Ultramark, for sharing that link. So what I wanted to do was, when you insert a record here, just go over, drop a record into a queue with here's my user ID, here's the video that I want to like, or not even my user ID. Here's the video that I have a new like for. And when a record appears in the queue, take a look at what that video number is, go recalculate the number of likes, and update the record. Piece of cake. But I need to move that into another project because I can't process queue messages from within the Azure Static Web App's function app. That's not confusing. That's a really big name. So that's what I'm going to do. To start with, I want to move that out, and because I want to do the exact same thing for comments. I don't want to run through this and count the number of comments for each one of the clips that you're presenting. Drop an entry on a queue, let the queue go and recount that, and update the top level statistics for that clip. And if it takes a second or two to recalculate that count, fine. It should, nobody's going to go, oh my gosh, it didn't count my comment. No, you'll be able to see your comment is there. It'll get updated a second or two later. No big deal. Hey there, Nopefish. Welcome. So that's where I want to go today. So let me set up the task list here just above me. So let's call this refactoring Azure functions and adding a comment system. That's really long. Hey there, PC nerd. Hello. We are almost ready to invite new folks to the live coders. We have a little bit of discussion and agreements that we're finalizing, and then we're going to be adding folks. So I'm hoping we're ready to move forward with that this week. So let me add, first thing is going to be move queue trigger functions to their own app. Configure a GitHub action to deploy the new function app. Build UI for creating comments. Add functions for saving comments. I think that works. I think that's the list of what we're going to do today. So I'm going to mark number 1 as active there. We're going to move that queue trigger that I started on into its own function app.
And then
we'll set it up to automatically deploy whenever there's an update to that function app, which also means I want to refactor back the deployment of the Azure Static Web App, because if the function app, the other function app, is updated, we shouldn't go and try and deploy the Blazor app, right? There's no update to that. Don't do that. That's a bad thing. Hey, Jeremy Knight, you wish you had time to code on stream hard enough to carve out user group time. This started off with me just... I wanted to dedicate some time to write code anyway, and it felt right to just turn on the camera. Just turn on the camera. Hey, maybe you're interested in seeing what I'm writing, maybe you're not. So, I'll take that question from the Naked Flame. Let's see what they have to say here. The Naked Flame asks, what's my opinion on Entity Framework Core? I've heard mixed opinions about it from experienced C# devs and wondering what your take on it was. It works great for interacting with relational databases. I'm curious what folks have a problem with, what they're concerned about with it. It does the things that I need to do to make it easier, quicker, faster. Easier, quicker, make me more productive interacting with database. I mean, I could tune that to the nines. And there are folks who prefer other micro frameworks that don't have as much ceremony, like Dapper. And there's other little ones around that you can pick up and use. Nothing wrong with that, but Entity Framework Core makes me productive, and it's kind of standard. A lot of folks know it. So I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's pretty good. I'm curious as to what some of those folks you're hearing from, what their concerns are. Maybe that's feedback we can send on to the team to help improve it. So, you've been wanting to code on stream yourself, finally got OBS set up and a project figured out to do on stream? Nice! PC Nerd, I'll tell you that the biggest challenge that I have, and our friend Sarah Dukevich, Suduki on Twitter, I'm a big fan of Sarah's. She does some amazing things for the technical community and in general, and particularly user groups and mentoring folks in the Columbus, Ohio area. I think she's in Columbus, Ohio. She had a comment this morning on Twitter about how, I can probably find that really quick, about how folks get, right, you get that little bit of stress, you get those butterflies before you go on stage to give a presentation. Where'd it go? Where did it go? I had a reply to her. Let me... Here we go. Because Sarah is so right in this comment here. Experience... here we go. Kendra Little writes, I got stressed out by a talk I gave today. It was well rehearsed, content I know deeply, and a friendly event, but still stress. I've been public speaking for years, never quite goes away for most of us. We learn to manage it and becomes worth it. It's not just you. Experienced speakers still feel stress around talks. And, oh my goodness, Raphael.
Raffle could just resubscribed for 15 months.
Thank you so much, and we'll make another donation to Girls Who Code. But I want to point out, I get chills every time I press the start streaming button. And this happens for a lot of folks that stream on Twitch. When you press that start streaming button, that's a big thing. And part of the reason I have that 5-minute countdown that you see when I get started is to get me warmed up. Get me settled in and ready to go. So, yeah, Jeremy, okay, when you're doing bulk updates and bulk inserts, yeah, I see folks with concerns about that, and that's understandable. There's ways to do that better, and you can optimize, certainly. But right at that point, you're doing some more advanced tuning and things when you're doing those bulk operations, which you can tune, and certainly Entity Framework should learn and do that better. But not something that I get too wound up about. Yeah, tailor and code takes a moment before you start streaming. Yeah, exactly. So, your biggest fear is people tearing your code apart. That is what is right humbling about streaming, is you have to not be afraid to fail. You've seen me make mistakes here a ton. I've failed lots of times live on camera, and it's okay as long as we learn from it, adapt those changes that we need to, and move on, right? Figure out, what did we learn? Make those changes, move on. I was learning TypeScript and building a class library for Tamil last week, And I didn't know what I was doing at all, but I was getting feedback. I was learning with the chat room, making changes and moving on. So it is humbling, but there is a certain amount of ego that you need to have in order to appreciate and respond appropriately to things that don't work properly. You've seen me get frustrated and angry, downright annoyed on stream many times. And it's a thing. You need to learn from it and move on. And what I've been able to do, though, is because of the position that I'm in, the type of work that I do, I'm able to take some of that frustration back to product teams and say, this is annoying. This is something that needs to be tuned, fixed, repaired. It doesn't work this way, and I've got video showing that frustration and the various ways that I tried to do something, and they're able to work with that. So, you need a beefier PC. I first started streaming using 2 laptops. Neither one of them was particularly powerful, and we grew. We got better at it. Got a little bit better hardware. I don't have top-of-the-line hardware here. This is an i7 from 4 years ago now, and a NVIDIA 1060 GPU. NVIDIA GeForce. NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 with 6 gig, which at the time was screaming. But man, I'm looking at a 3090 now and saying, that could make my life so much better. You want to start streaming your dev work on B-Unit as much as possible? Nice! Waiting on a computer that can handle the task. Yeah. AMDs are in hot demand right now. They are. This is somewhere else where GitHub code spaces can help. Offload all that dev work, compiler work, through the browser out to GitHub servers, and then your machine can be focused on just OBS. And that's something that I'm trying to work out for March. Last year we called Minimal March, and we did some development with bare minimum .NET capabilities, and it worked out amazing. We were doing a Chromebook and writing Blazor code, and we were unit testing with B-Unit, and it was really cool to do that interaction. I want to strip that down even further, and we'll see how we can do. We all want the RTX 3080. Yeah, good luck getting one. I know. I'm going to end up waiting till some point in 2021 to find one, and that's okay. Well, internet is a requirement to be streaming well. Yes. Definitely a problem there. So, there's also something to be said about you can set up OBS running on a VM on a cloud service and have that VM capturing video from somewhere else, because that's definitely a thing. Now you've completely offloaded all the processing. However, that OBS running in the cloud is going to be running on a fat virtual machine that's going to cost you money. You got a 3070? Nice. Streaming as a service. Yes, that's what StreamYard does. StreamYard's free if you don't mind their logo sitting in the corner. Completely offload everything, use it in the browser. Otherwise, it's 10 to $50 a month, depending on what you need. That's a fine service. It does what folks need, and you can move on. If you want to do fancy widgets and things like I have here, well, you're going to need to do something more complex. But to get folks out the door with a camera and screen sharing, StreamYard does it great. We used StreamYard for Live Coders Conf 3 and for .NET Conf. No problems, no hiccups. It just worked. We had a great time. Visual Studio gets quite slow when you're doing pair programming with colleagues over Teams. Yeah, you've got a machine issue there. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, let me move into the code here. Let me show you where I started refactoring. And we can start moving things around here. And at some point I should probably get some unit tests into the user interface here because I haven't. And that's bad on me. Holy crow. What the heck do I... No. Close all the things except this. Good. So there are... When you build a Blazor Static Web App, you end up with 3 projects. An API, a client, and some sort of a shared library of objects that you're going to push back and forth. I renamed mine to cliptalk.twitch, cliptalk.client. This is my Blazor web app. And cliptalk.api. This is where my HTTP functions live that are going to be interacting with Azure Table Storage and whatever other Azure features I need. So what I started doing, literally just before stream, is I started allocating a back office project that is Microsoft.NET SDK functions. Notice, it's not Azure functions. This is coming out of the NuGet repository. Do you think we know that it's .NET? Just saying. Right? Like, how many node packages on NPM have node in the name of the package? Like, duh? Right? I mean...
People know me.
You're pulling it from the .NET package repository. Why isn't that the one for Python in the .NET package repository? Because you're pulling it from the .NET package repository. Right? So, I've in planning and thinking through, right, the various Tamil libraries that we were building, I don't think we need to put .NET in the name of our packages that we store on NuGet.
This is my fight song. Take back my life.
You don't need to think about that. You don't need to do that. We, of course, know that it's living on out there. SignalR client libraries for Java. Where are they at? Well, they're on, right? They're out there in Maven, right? I can use Maven to install them. So I don't need to tell you that it's for Java. It's over there. I need to tell you that it's for Java in the repository name, the source code repository name, sure. But the package name doesn't need to have the name of the technology in the name of the package. Right? That'd be like, right? Eagle working on B unit, right? He doesn't need to call it Blazor unit testing package for .NET. It's bunit.nupkeg. You know what bunit is, and you don't need to tell me it's for .NET, because of course it's for .NET. It's a nupkeg. So, right, Microsoft SDK is too general. Right. However, right, if the reason to put Microsoft at the top is that that's a reserved name. It shows, it provides ownership of, and that validated ownership of that package. You know that it's coming from Microsoft. I wouldn't put .NET here. If I was the king of the world and I was renaming this, I would call it Microsoft Azure SDK Functions. Because this way, it's like, functions for what? No. Make that Azure. That way I know they're Azure SDK functions. That makes sense. But that's not the name of the package, so... Right, Microsoft.word.sdk, that makes sense. Sure. So... But just Microsoft.sdk, it's the Azure SDK. Microsoft.word SDK, yes. That's an Azure package. It's for working for Azure services. So that's my bit of feedback on that. Razor Components Testing Library. That I can buy into also. Razor Components Testing Library. Makes sense. It's very descriptive on what it does. You didn't put .NET in there because Razor components are, of course, Razor. Okay, and Razor runs on .NET. Makes sense. If there was a testing library that used Python for Razor. Then I would put Python in the name of the source code repository, but the Razor Components testing library that lived on pip, on the Python package repository, I wouldn't call it the Python Razor Components testing library. I would just call it the Razor Components testing library, because of course it's Python, because it's living on pip. That's what I like that the Azure SDK team is doing. Everything is moving to azure.foo. Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Keep things organized, and I want them to stop refactoring and renaming things. Get there, and when the next vice president takes over, stop renaming things and reshuffling things, and make all of the developers out there in the world go and rewrite all of our code because you now have ownership of a different group and you decided to reorganize how everything in all of our source code everywhere runs. Stop that. That's annoying. You're not doing anybody favors when those types of things happen. Where was I? So let's move things around here. Let's get this over into a queue over here. And I haven't allocated, right? So look at this. I've already got a yellow triangle here for packages. Look at this. Microsoft.NET SDK functions. It doesn't even know what that is yet, right? What's this one use? Microsoft Azure Functions Extensions. Microsoft.NET SDK functions 3.0.11. And this one uses 3.0. Fine, I'll make it 11. Rebuild that. There's nothing in it yet, but go ahead, rebuild it. Thank you. Goes away. Moving on. So when somebody clicks and likes a video, right? What did I do there? Oh, that was our test data. Okay, that's fine. Close that up. Right, I was doing this really long go fetch all the other data thing. I don't want to do that. So I'm simplifying by modifying my like clip function here. I'm posting a record that says, go save a like for this. So the slug, right, that text block that is the name of it, grab that out of my form and grab the user ID out of there. And, right, just identify whether the message that was sent was to like the clip or unlike the clip. It's a Boolean, true, false. Add that to the repository. Go save that record. And I could really do both of these at the same time. No, I can't do them both at the same time. Because if I did them both at the same time, there's a chance that the queue could complete before it actually adds the record. I do need to do these separately. So I add a record to the end of the table repository, or I remove it appropriately based on whether this is true or false. Then I go grab the Azure queue and I throw a message on the queue that says, hey, there's a new, the number of likes for this clip has changed. Go recalculate it. So it puts the value back on, right, it puts that count out there. What I need to do is inside of, I added a queue trigger here. Where'd it go? This one. I put this out here to just go aggregate the likes for a clip. Go ahead, take a picture. It'll tell you now. It's this really small GitHub logo over here that it sometimes doesn't see and pick up. So what I need to do, because you can't have Azure Queue triggers inside of an Azure Static Web App, right? We need to move this over. But that also means that these repositories that are doing the interactions with those Azure functions, I either need to put them in yet another project so I can share them across the projects. Not a bad idea. Yeah. Right, so that I don't have to rewrite this and move my repository implementations around. So, right, I'm starting to see project creep here, where because I want to reuse things, it gets confusing, right? It could get confusing, and I don't want to over-normalize my code. Thank you, developer. I'm glad you like the hat. Yeah, it's over there. There's there's a I don't have this hat, I don't think, on the hats website, do I? It might not be on there yet. If you go to hats.c#fritz.com, this is another Blazor Static Web App that just fetches data out of a table and uses Blazor to paint the list of my hats on screen. So that's kind of cool. And it's not on there. And there's a little snippet of information about each one of these hats. I should put it up there at some point. I'm gonna add GitHub hat to Hat's website, and we'll figure out a time to pause and take that action in a little bit. So, all right, back over to the code. So I want to refactor and move this. Thinking. So if I break this out into another project, right? My back office logic, my back office services, then I can reference that same class library from both my API and my back office project here that still has a big old yellow triangle for restoring those packages. What the heck? No, that worked. All right, I'm going to ignore you then, yellow triangle person. So if I refactor and move this out, I'll be able to reference it from both places and hopefully save some time. But then it also has me thinking that, right? Nah, that's okay. Yeah, I think I'm all right with those. So basically, all the things that I have here in the models folder, I would move out into this third project. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth project. All right. I think that makes appropriate sense, right? No, I want a class library, and I need to use .NET Standard because Azure Functions are on .NET Core 3.1, not on .NET 5. The Azure Functions runtime does not support .NET 5 yet. Hasn't been updated for that. So let's call this cliptalk. I'm going to call this backoffice.services. Now let's just call this cliptalk.services. And those, right, the back office function and the API function know how to consume these. Yeah, that makes sense. So let me see, I'm going to take these, copy, and I'm just going to paste in here. So this way, right, and I'll fix all the namespaces. I'll be able to just reuse these. Yes, you can use a 3.1 library and a .NET 5 library. You can't go the other way. You can't use .NET 5 in a .NET Core 3.1 runtime yet. Or you won't be able to. You can't walk it down. So. Oh my gosh, the naked flame. That's a good comment. I'm sorry I didn't pick that up earlier. Another valid concern is when stubborn people in chat make silly comments like, this code is horrible, this is why I wrote an X language framework, and replying gracefully. Do you know how many times when I'm doing Linux-based streams, I get people coming in and absolutely tearing into me? It's frustrating. It's something that's going to make you angry. And this is why we have moderators, right? Is You time out those folks. You ban those folks. I had somebody come in and tell me that I was stealing code because I chose Ubuntu Linux over whatever their favorite distribution was. You're stealing code. Ubuntu uses slave labor. Like, are you kidding? What? And we get a lot of folks with these types of interactions on the Visual Studio and the Microsoft developer channels. Handling that gracefully is something that we need to learn as streamers, as influencers that are working with a technology that some people still find very polarizing. It's been 20 years. Everything's open source. I mean, all of the source code for these SDKs, all of the source code for .NET, all of the source code for Visual Studio Code, completely free and available to you. Come on. Can't we be friends? I mean, really. Do we need to be mean about these things? Shouldn't even be a discussion. Shouldn't even be a discussion. But some folks will not agree. They will not. They don't want to play with the other kids in the sandbox. That's their problem. At that point, that's their problem. So I'm going to add a reference to the new services library that we just created. So all of my references here should now still work, but I'm going to change their namespace, and these are going to break. See, look at that, right? So let me change the namespaces and watch the fur fly, right? And so I also need the, right? Come on. Well, I need to add a reference to the Twitch. So add project reference back to this that has our shared objects in it. There we go. Yep, save that, close that. That's updated, good. These things should go away in a second. Let's keep moving down here. Change namespace, good. This one. Change namespace, and I'm going to need these Microsoft Azure references. No. There it is. Look, Windows Azure.storage, Microsoft Azure Cosmos table. Like, come on now, right? Azure App Service does support .NET 5 through early access. Azure App Service does. Functions does not. Functions runtime does not support it. Right? The functions runtime is a different animal. IntelliCode suggestion. Oh, really? Yes. Yes, please. Right. Yeah. So it sees that I've been, look at this, IntelliCode sees, you've been doing this a couple times here. I'm going to suggest you do the same thing. Why, yes. Yes, I do. So, what the heck was that? Okay. Rebuild that library. That should work. And I should have a stable library. Come on. Come on. No. Models does not exist in ClipTalk API. Am I missing an assembly reference? Yes. Okay. Here's the next piece, right? Get rid of that. These should now come up and say, oh no. Interesting. Let me rebuild the API. That should, right, flip over here. There we go. ClipTalk services DLL could not be found. What? What? That's over here. Okay. That can go away. What else do we have on the error list? Clip function. Here we go. So this should now rebuild properly. There we go. Rebuild all succeeded. Oh, thank you, BSD guy. That's so nice of you to say. C4 with a question. What's the difference between Azure App Services and Azure Functions? So Azure App Services is the name for platform as a service offering that Azure has, right? So you want to host an application, you want to run a web application, right? Here's my application. You manage all the operating system things behind of it. Just host it for me. That's Azure App Service. Azure Functions is a specific type of app that runs on top of Azure App Service that has a runtime that knows how to start and stop on demand the various serverless functions, right? The hot serverless, that keyword, that buzzword that we've been hearing about for the last 2-3 years, serverless capabilities in the cloud, where you just write a function and it, right, how it's hosted, how it's executed, the operating system that manages all that, you don't care about. You just, here, run this function in this condition. That's what Azure Functions is. It's a specific implementation of an Azure app that runs on that same platform. But in order to run on that platform, you need to have the functions runtime that sits on top of it, and the functions runtime doesn't know how to use .NET 5 yet. So, hey, Chris Jones, good to see you. Hello. So, good question, C4. Thank you for asking that. Really appreciate you being in the chat here today. Thank you so much. Azure isn't available in your country? Which country is that? Sokyang KH. Because it is available pretty much everywhere. And there's different regions that you can use that are available in different parts of the world. Azure Functions provides many tools to interact with other services. Yes, the various bindings. And that's what we're doing. Where'd it go? Right here. Right? We have these bindings, like right here. Here's an Azure function that's going to handle the like interaction. And it has, right, so we've defined the function. It's just this method. And it's called like clip. So, right, I want to click the heart on my user interface that says, I like this video clip. Well, this function is triggered from an HTTP post, right? I'm going to post some interaction to the like clip function, and that will execute this, right? I've built an API, an endpoint that listens on Azure. I'm not thinking about how and when this is run. I'm not thinking about managing the number of instances of this. I'm telling Azure, if somebody makes a post request looking to run this, you manage the number of instances, the number of threads, the number of interactions. You manage how that's throttled up and down, but just run this 10 lines of code whenever somebody posts into this thing, right? I'm handing off that interaction. And in return, I'll be charged based on how many times this is executed. And right now it's like 3/1000ths of a cent. What 1 penny USD that I'll be charged each time this is called. So literally, I'll process through tens of thousands of likes on videos, and it'll start to cost me pennies at that point. That's a good problem to have. When it starts costing me dollars, millions of likes have been processed. Now we're talking. It'll cost me hundreds of dollars when billions of likes are processed through this. I can live with that. If I get billions of likes coming through this, I'm going to start rolling out advertising to start paying for this, right? That there comes a point there where you got to monetize to pay for the platform. That's just the way it is. And anybody who tells you you shouldn't be monetizing to pay for their web service so that they're not paying for it all out of their pocket is they don't understand how business works. Somebody's got to pay for these things at some point. So Yeah, Azure is available in China. It's available in many countries. You're going to have concerns. There are some places where there are government restrictions of what types of services you can put in various hosting providers for political reasons, treaty reasons across international borders. So that's something that we've always got to deal with. So yeah, commence a DDoS liking service, right? So is it possible? Any possible? Of course. Yes, you can build software with Python. I don't build software with Python here on this stream. There's no good libraries for building software with Python. You're kidding, right? There's tons. What are you trying to build is the question. There's libraries, many thousands of libraries for building software with Python. Look on PIP, and you can find all kinds of stuff out there to help with that. Okay, so this I'm going to eventually have reaching over and calling the repositories from my services library, and I shouldn't have to change these because now if I go back to startup, yeah, there it is. It's already updated so that my services reference is here and these are being passed through. Really what I should do is I should move the interface definition over to another library so that it's common and shared and the actual concrete implementations are over here. But no matter. We're in fine shape here. So that's working. What I'm going to do then, I'm not going to open local settings. What I'm going to do is inside of this back office application where I'm going to start building my other functions. Let me just grab clip function and I'm just going to paste it in so I don't end up rewriting code here. And I need the queue, right? Yep. Azure, no. I thought I already, all right. Add a reference to that project. You're trying to build a linter? There's all kinds of linters for Python. Remove it from... Why is this taking so long? Why you do this? Add reference. Where'd it go? Project reference. Services. Go. Bang. Done. I need to add a startup class down here as well. That should go away. Azure Storage Queues. I need to add that into the mix. Come on now. And you feel shame. Rebuild. I saw, right, I'm going to exclude from project so I don't inadvertently open it. I don't need my, yes, here we go. Here we go. This can go away, right? Because I'm refactoring some of these things out. Error list. No. There we go, my using statement. Now that is lined up properly, good. Back over, you go away. Back over here, control dot, get my using statement. And I'm eventually going to, this doesn't exist, so I can remove that. So these ones where I need the app access token, for this type of back office integration, I don't need that yet, but at some point I will. So, I do need a startup class so I can map those. So I'm just gonna steal this one to start. because it does the exact same things here. I'm going to change this. Yep. Azure Functions extension. So there's another, right? There's another. I'm going to need this. Let me bring over that as well. Azure. Sure. Bring over all 4 of those. All those package references because, hey, what's a few packages between friends? Okay. Okay. And why you do this? Rebuild. Right, show me a list of errors. Show me the errors. Here we go. All right. So security function doesn't exist. Right. So as of right now, I'm not getting tokens. I don't need tokens. That's okay. And I don't need to reach out to Twitch yet. So let's get rid of this, which means I can get rid of these. Right, this whole load operation, I can get rid of that. Get clips, nope. Nope, get clip views, nope. I just want to start. Deal with this. Aggregate likes for clip. Okay. Yes, Lithics, you're right. Few packages between friends. That's Christmas. You're right. That's a good one. Thank you. Hey there, Andrew 1000. Welcome. So I've got that moved over here. I think that's all I need, right? So this is going to reach into my repository. I don't need this. It's going to reach into my Azure table repository. I don't need an HTTP client factory either then. Eventually I will, because I'm going to have an algorithm running in here to go and calculate, hey, what other videos would you like, right? Building that algorithm is coming up. That's going to be a thing. But getting this refactored, so it's just aggregating the likes, and we're going to end up building another one here for aggregating the comments. So, right, we're going to need that coming up soon here. But, thinking, ooh, that's nearly bad. Close that. I still had Teams running here. Last thing I want is a Teams thing popping up on screen. You know what I'm saying? So, Jay Rosegard with a question here. Let's bring that up. What platform or environment do you use for hosting on Azure? Kubernetes or something simpler? I'm using an Azure function. It'll scale appropriately for me. So I'm not using anything for orchestrating this. I don't need to. It's an Azure function. The whole point of that platform is scale for me. I don't need to configure that. If I was deploying using containers and took a little bit more control of that, then I would use Kubernetes. Yes. So let me also take whip replacements question here before I go and start configuring the Azure app for this, the Azure Functions app for this. You've been doing the latest project using Blazor server, but whenever I Google how to do stuff, try Googling it with Bing. That's a Microsoft joke. Like JavaScript, 95% of all search results only applies to WebAssembly, which seems to be quite different. Why does WebAssembly receive so much love? Can a WebAssembly project do anything a server project can do? So I should use that instead. There are reasons to choose one versus the other. The reason that you see so much push, so much reference to the WebAssembly version of Blazor is because it got a lot of mentions, a lot of action from the community. because it was so innovative. We're finally writing C# that runs in the browser. That's why you see a lot more folks blogging about it and interacting with it. A WebAssembly project and a server project both have the exact same syntax in their Blazor files, in those Razor template files. Whether you're building components or you're building pages, the syntax is identical. The difference you're going to run into is when you're interacting with services. If you're on a server, you're in the same data center as your database, as your other servers. Where if it's running in the browser, you can't have your service that is interacting with the database reach directly into the database, because the database is behind a firewall in the data center, where the application is now running on somebody's desktop. So you need a facade in front of that, some sort of a service that's going to relay those interactions, like I'm building here with Azure Functions, this facade to interact with my data store. So it's not that it can't do the same things. It's because of the execution environment where the Blazor application is running is different. You need to think differently about it. Oh yeah, I've got Gunners. Absolutely. And Gunner had a Black Friday special over the weekend. I think they still do. There's a couple of specials on different glasses you can buy. These, the Lightning Bolt 360, I'm a big fan of these. I took a bunch of unboxing pics. I got to post them on my blog. Really great stuff. The lenses swap out and you can replace them with sunglass lenses. So you can wear the same glasses inside, outside. And sometimes I forget that I have them on, really. But they do help me with headaches from staring at screens for too much of the day. And they have replacement arms. It came with 3 different arms for the glasses, right? And you can barely see it there, but see how there's a thing here? It's so that the arms go over your headphones, so that they're not resting right on your temples. And right where other glasses, you'll get pressure on your temples. So that feels really good. There's another almost sport version of these that has a strap that goes of the arms that has a strap that goes around. That's really cool to use also. So you can learn more about Gunner on the links below. They do still have the sale on. Fantastic. If you use the coupon code C#, you'll get an additional 10% off on that. It's really great stuff. So I think I now have 3 different pairs of Gunner glasses. And I paid for 2 of those glasses. Gunner sent me a pair. And the wife and one of my daughters use them now. Blazor server, for sure, the right one for you. Wish there was more community content for it. The Blazor web form components that we work on here on this stream, those work both on Blazor server and Blazor WebAssembly. We've tried to make it very clear that it works in both runtime environments, whether you're hosted in the browser or the server. So you're right, there needs to be a little bit more for Blazor server. That's a good opportunity for folks to blog about it, write some articles for codeproject.com, DevTO, and various places. Medium, right? Various places where you'll find tech content. So, hey, Art, good to see you. Lurking, that's great. You haven't really noticed a lack of content? Okay. Cool. Foxy Error, let me back up to that comment that you had just a little bit ago, and then I'm going to get into building and deploying this. Foxy Error asks, what do I think of the idea of using Razor components to make desktop applications? I think that's a great idea. But Dane Alex is here.
Just resubscribed for 6 months.
Thank you so much. 6 months with us. That's going to put you into a blue subscriber loyalty hat badge. Thank you so much. And we're going to make another donation to Girls Who Code. I think this is a fantastic idea. There's folks using the Electron.net package to wrap their Blazor WebAssembly pages so that you can do this. I think it's a tremendous idea because then you've got a application that works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. There are some optimization issues that you will see because you don't directly have access to some of the the native operating system APIs. It does become a little tricky. It's something that the .NET team at Microsoft is thinking a lot about, and they want to make sure you have a good experience with this. But for right now, I think it's a fine thing to explore, but appreciate that there is definitely something coming in the .NET 6, .NET 7 timeframe. So we're talking a year or two out that they want to figure out and provide a great experience for this, because they know how to interact with those operating systems really well. So yes, you can build mobile apps with Blazor. That is in preview. It's not even preview. It's an experiment. That's not a preview. That's an experiment that they can cancel, right? And this is Microsoft testing something and saying, what do you think of this? If there isn't significant uptake, well, the source code is out there and they'll just stop working on the project and the experiment is over. And if somebody else wants to pick up and run with it, if some company wants to take ownership of that, maintainer ownership of that project, they can, but it won't be an official Microsoft project at that point. So you see a future where they package the Blazor runtime with Edge, taking out the initial load time. You sound like somebody who, right, has heard a similar discussion around doing that with Angular, publishing the Angular libraries with Chrome and taking out all of the middleman, so that if you have an Angular app and somebody's using it in Chrome, that all of the Angular libraries, all 2-3 meg of them, are already sitting there on the machine locally with Chrome. Think about that on a Chromebook. That's going to make it really fast, and it runs quickly. I think of Blazor apps, right, in that Electron.net model. I like looking at those and thinking that's going to work really great on an ARM processor, because it just works everywhere. It's not even targeting specifically a chipset, right? It's targeting WebAssembly, which the browser then takes care of and runs natively on whatever operating system. Couldn't Blazor theoretically load some libraries from the local machine? Nope. WebAssembly runs in the sandbox? Nope. Timebender asks, and I need to get back to my project here. While creating a service library or entity classes, should we use .NET Standard or now .NET 5? .NET Standard 2.1 or .NET 5? Where are you consuming that service library? Where is that going to be used? The recommendation is use the lowest version you can get away with when you're making some sort of a class library with this. So if you're building just class libraries that need to work somewhere, use .NET Standard 2, right? To get it working on Windows, Mac, Linux with .NET Core, get it working with .NET Framework, get it working with .NET 5. It'll work, and Blazor, right? It'll work in all of those places if you build with .NET Standard 2. If you only need to work with Blazor, if you're only working with .NET Core 3.1, you could target .NET Standard 2.1. I avoid .NET Standard 2.1. There's a few things that are added in there to help with ML.NET. I forget what else. I avoid that one because, right, I'm either going to be .NET Standard 2 or I'm going to be .NET 5. I don't want to be somewhere in between. .NET Standard 2.1 is kind of caught in between two major versions of .NET Core and .NET 5. So I try to avoid that one if I can. If I need some of those features, jump right to .NET 5. Because eventually I'm going to migrate that app to .NET 6, the long-term servicing version, and it's going to end up with longer, better support. No, service libraries can absolutely be .NET 5. Sure, you can post a link to Blazor WebView. Absolutely. Absolutely. Stuck with the version of Blazor that was shipped with the release of the browser? Yes, but when we look at the how Edge is now an evergreen browser, and they're updating Edge for you as things are running. Great. Brent Ozar is here. Brent! Oh my goodness. Where's the sound effect? Stream Elements, you're dropping the ball on me here. Brent, thank you so much for the raid, bringing in a whole bunch of viewers. Hello, hello. Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Jeff Fritz, and we're working on some Azure functions, some Blazor Static Web Apps today. Shout out to CTI Geek. Well, thank you so much, CTI Geek. Welcome in, Raiders, and like I said, we're working on some Azure functions, some Blazor Static Web Apps. What are we doing over there on your channel, Brent? Let's make... Brent's a well-known speaker and lecturer in the .NET community. Make sure you check out Brent's channel. Can we get a shout-out for Brent? Doing Q&A on a SQL Server. Awesome. There's a lot to be said about how robust Microsoft SQL Server is. It's a really great database. It really is. When I need big relational interactions, right, and I'm going to fan out and have a lot of really small tables that I'm going to generate great reports around. I want to use Power BI. I want to build a choose your reporting package, right? SQL Server is amazing. It's really good for that. Here, make that happen. There we go. Had to bail to go to breakfast. Nice. Breakfast is a very good thing. Make sure you check out, drop Brand a follow, learn more about great database interactions. I think I limit shoutouts to VIPs and moderators. So, the licensing, well, right. That is, of course, a concern for folks who are starting, right, you're starting with small interactions. If you're using Azure SQL, if you're using the hosted SQL Server instance, it does run very fast, and it's priced accordingly out on the cloud. So, Postgres, well suited for Linux. You can run Microsoft SQL on Linux using Docker now, but once again, there is a licensing bit that you need to cross there. .NET 5 Core Library is very similar to .NET. Well, Student Boy, thank you so much for joining us with your Prime subscription. We're going to make another donation to Girls Who Code, and it's going to get matched. Didn't cost you a thing, and you just made 2 donations to Girls Who Code. Thank you so much. Yeah, .NET 5 Core Library, .NET 5 libraries, class libraries, are the same structure as .NET Core 3.1 class libraries. However, because .NET 5 is the same across everything, it's .NET 5. So, every .NET company you worked at, you used MS SQL. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. You can use... I've been at companies where we were using VB.NET with Oracle. Right? C# with MySQL. C# with Postgres. C# with Mongo. So, you have choices. Mix and match what works well with you. C# with DB2. I was at an organization once that did that. That was interesting. So I want to hook this up to the same storage and all that. For that, I need to grab those keys. I'm going to change scenes here so that I can make that change real quick without showing and doxing myself. And everybody loves Fritz doxing himself, but not today. So I'm just going to copy over my local settings JSON. That's fine. And I'm going to exclude it from my project so that I don't inadvertently share that. Good, and same here. All right. And so now I have my storage settings available to me inside of the back office. Yeah, I can go back to Okay, the sound effects aren't working too well here. Let me mark that top one active again. There we go. Yeah, just change the moniker to .NET 5 and it just works. So, yeah, deleting. So I don't so much delete the videos as I'll rotate keys. So, all right, let's stand up this other Azure function that we need, and I think I've got the Q trigger moved appropriately, but I need to stand up this other Azure function. So let's go over here and let's see if Azure's going to behave well for me today. Right? I mean, it was a common joke here on the stream that Azure and Fritz are like oil and water. Don't go together too well. So I don't need a new dashboard. I need a new resource. So I want a new functions app. Is that so wrong? Function app. Give me one of those. Yes, please create it. No, that's fine. Resource group is going to be resources ClipTalk. So I've got everything for the same project in the same location, right? And I'm going to call this ClipTalk back office. Yes, I'm going to publish. Look at that. I can publish code or I can publish a Docker container. I'm going to publish code. My runtime stack is .NET Core. See, 3.1 and 5 isn't even in the box. So I am in East US 2 for all my things. Oh, you're welcome, the artist. That's very kind of you. Code with scene, yeah, right? Yeah, the sound effects just, right, they're not behaving properly today. Is that something, right? The refresh that. Where's my other one? Right? Somebody try a Scott command there. Let's see if we can get that running. Right? That should be a thing. It should load quickly. So. Does the function app... I see. No, that's not the Scott command. The Scott command. Right? Squirrel. Squirrel! There you go. That one worked. Maybe I just needed to reestablish that connection. Right. So. Rick, you're in cooldown for one more second. Go ahead, try the Scott command again. Why did deploy a storage account? Well, I guess it needs one, but right for some of the behind the thing deal. No, that's fine. You'd like my feedback. I'd like to go to my app here.
Great Scott.
There it is. But why did... whatever. Does the function app represent a whole project in this case? Well, it's the function app is a unit of deployment that, right, needs to scale and behave differently, this function app, from the static website. So it also has different capabilities compared to the static website. So other question here from C4. Am I right thinking Azure is Microsoft's take on AWS? I wouldn't call it its take. I'd say originally Windows Azure has been available for almost 15 years, and has been scaling and changing, and it is Microsoft's cloud service. Yes, it's available in more regions and it has more data centers than AWS. They're very much competing services. So. Zulu King. That okay, I can answer that while I'm waiting for this deployment, which is taking forever. About REST design, it's a RESTful service, right? Do you include pagination metadata in the response body or header? I include it in the response body because that pagination data about, well, here's the data that I'm presenting, needs to be interpreted by, right, by the end client. So to have, right, have a object that is, you know, here's my response, and, you know, have a page object as part of that response, followed by a data array that is the items in that collection that you're returning, I think is completely fair, because you want the page data is important as part of delivering that. So I consider it part of the payload that you're presenting. There we go. Just completed. So let me go to the resource. Here we go. App resource plan. App service plan. Would have been nice to be able to put that on the same app service plan as the other one. You know? So, whatever. So, do they have a CI thing here that I can hook right up to GitHub and it'll generate my GitHub action? I don't see it. Right? App service plan. Can I change the app service plan? I guess not. Just my resource group. Thanks for publishing my subscription ID there, Azure. And now you won't go back to overview. You make me sad. Still publishing it. And it's... No. Way to go. Thanks. That doesn't work. Love what you've done with the place, Azure. Are you kidding? Sorry, we're not going to show you Azure on stream today because they decided it was important that they make private keys available and visible and that you can't hide it on screen. So I'm going to talk about what I'm doing here while I'm not showing you my private keys because they refuse to hide these now. Thanks, Azure. Really appreciate it. I've even got the filters and things turned on, and something changed, and now it's always visible. Okay. What is push? App service push. No, I'm that's a different type of function. That's not a setting. Okay. Have I tried restart? Yeah, let me go restart Azure. Hey, Fritz, get out of the car and go and push Azure. It doesn't work like that. So how do I deploy to Azure from GitHub Actions? Plus I need to deploy all of my connection information. Right? That's a thing. So, and that's more private key data that I can't show on screen. So let me go take care of that real quick. I'm not going to push the Twitch information in there yet. Nah, let's do that. Why not? So I'm going to get that loaded. And sorry, I can't show this because, like I said, I don't want to dox myself. Yep, there's my client ID. Let me add my Twitch secret. And this is actually a bit of feedback that the team has gotten many times, that many of the Azure services do not hide private key values by default. So you end up, when you're giving presentations, you have to dox yourself when you're giving a presentation and you're showing Azure. So you can see the reflection in my glasses. Well, yes, you can see that I'm doing those things. Oh, okay. Okay, Azure Web Job Storage is already allocated for me. Fine. Save those settings. Yep, continue. So, kind of surprised that a private key isn't masked and have a copy to the clipboard button. Yeah, right, the giggles? Yep. Yep, they did break the filter app. The filter plugin for all the browsers. I click on overview and subscription ID is no longer hidden. So, that doesn't work anymore. Are AWS and Google Cloud just as naughty? I don't know. Not sure. But it clearly makes demonstrating Azure dubious at best. So, take care, not VPN. Appreciate you joining us. So now I need, it's not the app key, I need the deployment profile or something, right? I'm going to open a new tab here. GitHub action deploy to Azure. And let's see what that has and see if there's something we can do. Yeah, streamers really like Azure for doxing them constantly. Yeah. So, what the, I did want to click on that. What is GitHub Actions for Azure? Yes, what are they? Oh, I'm getting this static. Deploy to a static web app. I want to deploy to Azure Functions. Yes, please. Show me that. Use this GitHub action with your project. Don't mind if I do, but how do I use it? End-to-end workflow for .NET. Fantastic. Run .NET build, output bin, step before functions action step. Please consider registering Azure Functions binding extensions in your host. Yeah, something with this music is flaking. I'm gonna switch music. Let's change it up here for the last hour or so that we're together. I'm gonna change to Harris Heller's Stream Beats playlist. And this is coming out of Spotify. Let's go, I'm going to use the EDM playlist for today because it's a little bit more upbeat. Let me just scroll down and pick somewhere down here. I don't know. There we go. This is Azure Heller's, Harris Heller's Stream Beats playlist. This is music that's free for you to listen to, free for you to stream with, free for you to put on your YouTube videos. It's copyright free, it's royalty free, and you can use it wherever you'd like. Thank you so much, Harris, for making this music available for us to use on our stream. Oh yeah, real nice guy. Well, the Azure team didn't go in and show the portal. They don't like to use the portal when they're giving demos. Gee, I wonder why. Because it shows everything. The correct place for placing pagination data, I'll debate that till I'm blue in the face. Anybody who says that the correct place to place data is being dogmatic, and at some point they're wrong. So, whip replacement, let me grab that question here. So, they don't make your keys and IDs blindly available, the Beebs, on AWS? Good to know. Whip Replacement asks, do I ever do a stream where I help viewers with their coding problems? So I do answer questions on the Discord, and if they're good questions that aren't very, very specific, I'll bring them and show them here and talk about, hey, here's the situation that you might be in that we can fix. A lot of the questions I get, though, are extremely specific. Like, hey, can you solve why my application doesn't load this data? And it's something very specific to their configuration. But if there's something that we can learn from, something we can grow on, then I definitely like to answer questions here on stream. So, let me pull this down just a smidge. Alright. Publish profile as deployment credential.
I'm Scott, I'm new here.
C4, thank you so much for the sub. You bringing that Prime subscription. Completely free if you have Amazon Prime, and a lot of folks have Amazon Prime this month. Because you want free shipping for all the gifts that you're going to be given this holiday season. Hook it up to your Twitch account. You get one subscription you can use anywhere you'd like on Twitch. If you bring it here, you're going to make a donation to Girls Who Code. And there'll be a Microsoft match. And so you end up with 2 donations, didn't cost you a dime. Those Bezos bucks and the Microsoft money all goes to Girls Who Code. Thank you so much for your support. Rick asks, will I deploy this as a static web app to a normal Azure function app, since static web apps will automatically build your GitHub actions? So, yes and no. Let me show you, Rick. There's 2 pieces to this, right? I have a client app here that is a static web app. This is an Azure static web app, and works great. My problem is the API behind it can only host, and I need to go down here and remove it, can only host HTTP triggered functions. So these other functions that are triggered from HTTP requests work great and behave properly. So those absolutely deploy as Azure Static Web App. But I want to do a little back office processing, things that are going to aggregate data and run behind the scenes that you don't necessarily directly interact with. Those I need to deploy as a function app, because I'm going to interact with queues, at some point a service bus, right, blob storage. I'm going to interact with those things, and you can't trigger and run off of those using a static web app. So we need to manage appropriately. Yep, use those Bezos bucks. So that's why I needed to draw this line, is so that we can behave appropriately. So let me mark that active. Moving on. Where was I? So I've got that moved over. I was trying to do the GitHub action deploy, right? Yes. Did we have a redemption? Now, why didn't I get that redemption notification? Fool! Yeah, it didn't give me the notification. But we got a request for hamster voice. Oh my goodness. I can do that. 5 minutes of hamster voice? My pleasure.
Here we go. That's right. Look at it! GitHub Actions. Let's do this. Dear Lord. I'm a little afraid of what's going on in here. Because I only want to deploy the one folder. So I need to configure that appropriately. Alright, here we go. What? That's right. This is my real voice. View on Marketplace. What's that do? Does that give me the thing? End-to-end workflow. Yes, I want that template. So how do I... What? No, go over here. I want an action. Give me an action. I'd like an action. One of these. Do it. Do it now! I forgot to hit the 5-minute timer. There it is. Yeah. Alright. See, here it is. It fails building. Check this out. This is where I figured out that the Q trigger won't deploy. So in the build and deploy down here, you can't deploy Q triggers, only HTTP triggers into static web apps. Alright, fine. Give me a new one. Back up. C4!
C_4 just gifted 2 subs.
Thank you so much. We're going to make 2 more donations to Girls Who Code. Congratulations, Dingus Dev and Bit O'Brien. You just got gift subs from our friend C4, and we're making donations to Girls Who Code. Yeah, thank you so much for that. You've never heard the hamster voice, so it had to be done. Oh, yeah. Yes. There's a couple other voices down there you can click through. So I need a new workflow, right? To deploy the functions app. Let's see. Deploy Node to Azure? No. It's not here. Set up a workflow. No, I want the thing. Give me... What do I do from here if it's not one of these? Right? I don't want to set up a workflow myself. I want to set up one of these, but... Right? Is it somewhere down here? Publish Node.js.
Copper raided my stream with 12 views.
Welcome in, friends. Hello, Copper Beardy. My name is Jeff Fritz, and this is my real voice. Kidding, totally kidding. We have a channel point redemption right now for Hamster Voice, and we're working on some GitHub Actions to deploy Azure functions automatically. How you doing there? What are you working on over on your channel, Copper Beardy? Yes, back to normal voice. This is what I really sound like. Right? So, good to see you. Yeah, my alerts aren't working properly over here. That's a thing. It makes me sad. Force all those. We should see them pop up. Right, if I do something like this, right, just choose one of these. There, now it works. See that? Okay. 1 minute and a half left. Don't make the hamster sad. No, don't do that. So, Congratulations. Copy and paste the following. How do I... No, I don't want to just copy this in. Like, set it up for me. Templates. Give me one of these. But it's... No, I don't want the Windows version. I want the Linux version. Linux. This one. Right. And copy this in, I guess? I guess? Is that a thing? Give me the source to that. Okay. And eventually we're gonna need some docs on this. Because it looks kinda scary. Like I'm YAML averse. That's a thing. That's totally a thing. I'd like to create a new branch to put this in. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to just work on it on the root and end up creating tons and tons of files and commits. I'd like to squash that together, you know? You know what I'm saying? Let's call this back office function. Oh, I'm gonna get to you over there, timer. .yaml, right? Paste that in. I want a new branch. I'm gonna call this deploy Azure function. Yeah. Right, and I don't have half this stuff created. Oh, and we're done. We're done with the voice change.
There we go. Don't make the hamster sad. Don't do that. And we didn't. It's all good. All right. No, I'm not creating a pull request. Leave it where it is. So right, it should be now here. So now I can go and tinker with it without breaking. No, I did the T-Pain redemption. That was me testing to make sure. See, look, it's building. Which tells me now I need to tune my workflow a little bit over here, right? Because it's not just on pull request, but it needs to be on pull request and in one of the project libraries, project folders that my static web app depends on. Right? Because if I'm working on the Azure function, I don't want it to deploy the others. Come on, tell me that's at GitHub. Where did you find that hack? You make me sad. Go ahead, find that one now. All right. Right, so let me get back to that one. There you go. Go ahead. It's got to be cached because this one I know it knows very well. For help, go to github.com/azure/actions. Set up the following secrets in your repository. Azure Function App Publish Profile. Change these variables for your configuration. Azure Function App Name, your app name. Okay. Package path. Set this to the path to your web app project. Defaults to the repository root. Right. So I need to push that down into the back office folder that I created here. That's not bad. .NET version 2.2. 2.2. That's not supported. That hasn't been supported in a long time. And it'll pick out those there. Go ahead, try it. Come on. Really? Are we going to keep doing this?
Oh my.
I know. Go ahead. You know this one. No. how annoying that is. Yep, it still has that. It's still not going to hide this. So I'm going to do the work on Azure here off screen, so that you can at least see code.
Peace_A_pizza just resubscribed for 18 months.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. Pizza, appreciate that, and we'll make another donation to Girls Who Code. 18 months, a year and a half with us. That is awesome. I took pictures from different angles, so it should pick it up.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
There we go. Right, 87%. Right. So where was I? The name of my app is ClipTalk Back Off.
And then?
Well, and then I'm going to update this, so it does deploy. Right. Ta-ta. My app name. Stop scrolling. My app name right there. Package path. The path to the web project. Well, looking over here, right? It's going to be this folder. So let's open folder in Explorer. Thank you. You only took a good minute there to show me. So it's in cliptalk.backoffice. Okay. So back over to here. cliptalk.backoffice. That should pick up and run. .NET version, which is it's going to be 3.1 point something, because it's that's the .NET SDK. So can I say, what's the 3.1 SDK that I have? 3.1.404. Sounds good. All right. Check out GitHub Action, setup.net, action, setup.net, .NET version, .NET build, configuration release, good. Azure Functions Action. So I need to get the publish profile, it said. Azure Function App publish profile. So where's my publish profile? Over here in Azure. And I really can't show this. Because this will give you the ability to publish out to the thing. Where the heck is it? It's not identity. Get publish profile, the big button up at the top. Save that, because I'm inevitably going to end up opening this and it's going to be right on screen. I'm changing screen. Because I don't want that to inadvertently show on screen. Okay, it put it somewhere else. That's fine. That's good. I can work with that. Yeah, I can trust you. No, I can't. No, I can't. I've done this before. That's not... Alright, let's go to this. Right? Well, actually, it was kind of over here. In Azure Portal, go to your Function app, get a publish profile, download the publish settings file. Open the publish settings file, copy the content, paste the XML into Azure Function app publish profile. Okay, so I'm going to open up settings, and in my secrets tab, I'm adding a new repository secret with the name Azure Function App Publish Profile, and it wants me to paste that XML into there. Okay. Okay. I can show you this now. Back over to the code. It's just between you, me, and the internet. No big deal. So, my publish profile, and then here's the tokens for deploying to the various static web apps. Actually, the one, right, that one doesn't exist anymore. Gray Glacier. Right, that's not a thing anymore. Let me just double check. Yeah, White River is the one that's still available. Gray Glacier is gone. So I'm going to remove that one. Yep. So I have these two secrets sitting out here. So now that's available, and this runs on Ubuntu latest steps. It doesn't have the conditions for when this runs. Oh, on push. I would want to qualify that also with on push on the main branch, right? I forget how you do that. Did I back up Azure first? Yeah, let me go back up the Azure. Let me go over to code, because I think, right, I think there's a, come on, open. I clicked the thing, open. There we go. On push branches main, that's what I want. To add that little bit. On, right, let's do that format. So it only runs to deploy this when it's pushed into the main branch. That, I think, is where I want things. Sure, start that commit. Yep. And then we can test and see if it actually deploys it. I do need to push out that code, that update that I made over here, to make sure everything builds. See, and because I had to flip back and forth, my active flag gets turned off up there. Come on. Build, build, build. Let's go. Yeah, Streambeats has been pretty good. No, I have not used Azure templates for deploying Azure services. And I quite frankly, I refuse to use the Azure CLI. For folks that are learning, for folks that are not knee-deep in Azure every day, the CLI is a terrible experience for somebody that's just learning and wants to visually see, here are the things that I'm deploying. So it's something that as somebody who's trying to instruct and make this easier and less complicated for folks to understand, I refuse to use the Azure CLI. You will never find me using the Azure CLI to deploy and configure services in any demos or on any stream. So, and that's a preference, because, like I said, I prefer teaching folks visually. Don't get me wrong, Azure CLI is really good if you have to manage a lot of services on Azure and you need to do it quickly. It does a great job with that. As a teaching tool, it stinks. So, all right. Moving on. So, everything built properly, right? 560, good. So let's commit and push. What do we got here? Yep. good. Add all of those changes. Commit them. PowerShell Freak!
PowerShell_Freak just resubscribed for 19 months.
Thank you so much, PowerShell Freak. Really appreciate it. And we're going to make another donation to Girls Who Code. I do use the CLI sometimes. I teach the CLI for .NET because people don't believe me that it works on Azure, on Apple, Mac systems and Linux. They don't believe it. So you have to show them at the CLI. And the .NET CLI isn't as complicated as the things that are going on with Azure. So, right, the other option is I'm in Visual Studio and I say build or file new. What's the magic going on under the scenes? So, okay, so refactoring to support a back office function, fixes, and what was the GitHub ticket for that? Okay, so that's updated. What was the issue number? 29. That way it gets tagged in the issue. So pushing that isn't going to deploy the back office function, but it is going to redeploy the static web app, which should start dropping entries into my queue when folks interact with it. So now I need to deploy the static web app, which means I'm going to go into pull requests and merge that, which should then work. There we go. So, yeah, see, it's going to try and build and deploy the static web app. I don't want it to do that. And we'll see if it actually works. Right, kill those actions. Move on. Delete that branch. Right, which should break this. Deploy Azure function. There we go. Right, so it's only, look at this, it's running 5 of these. Cancel that. You're not going to let me cancel a bunch of these at once? That doesn't feel very productive. Come on. So, Azure Static Web Apps, CI/CD, that one, yes, I do want to run. This is the deploy.net project to Azure function app. This one is the one that I actually want to see it run. Come here, you. So it set up the .NET environment, run Azure functions action. Did it resolve the dependencies in the correct one? Looks like it. Okay. So now it's doing the build package deployment using zip deploy initiated. Cool. And we should see it. I'm not going to show you it, but I should see it appear in. Oh my goodness! Appear on Azure in a second. There, Jeff Blankenberg is here.
Blankenberg raided my stream with 12 viewers.
Hey Jeff, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. I'll give a second for the raiders to pop in here. Hello, hello. Welcome in, raiders. My name is Jeff Fritz, and we're working on some GitHub actions deploying functions to Azure that are going to run our static web app. So, how you doing there, Trade Last? What are you working on over there on your stream, Jeff? I know you've been doing some work on your chat casino that interacts with Alexa. So your Amazon Echo device can play games with chat. Just up the viewers by 10%. Fantastic. Thank you, Trade Last. Love seeing that. Thank you. So that looks like it deployed properly. I'm going to check out... It even deployed an Application Insights instance. There's Jeff. Hello, hello. Fighting bugs on the casino. You're right. The last 20% of coding, fixing that last 20% of features, always takes like 90% of time. I'm going to mark my number 1 task as done here. And we are working on number 2. There it is. And we should be working on the comments interactions here in just a little bit. Cool. How do I see that it deployed? That the functions are actually here. Functions. Yeah, there we go. It deployed. I can show you this. There it is. Aggregates liked for clip. There it is. And oh, look, it did black that out. So now it will run properly and recount the number of likes for various clips. So I'm going to go over here to my clip likes and scroll down. I should sort by timestamp, right? So I'm going to grab the ones that I haven't seen in a few days here. Distinct Nice, right? I deployed like on the 29th. I'm going to tell it to, I'm going to put entries in the like clip for Distinct Nice Scallion Pico Mouse. We Antsy Vampire Floof. I don't know why these don't have keys. That's a bug. But let's grab these 3 and force reloads for those. So I'm just going to grab that key, Distinct Nice Pico Mouse, go over here to my queue and drop an entry in here. And my queue message for it to run is just the name of that clip for it to recount. So that should get picked up and cleaned up in just a second here. Let me go back over here to the clips. And it should... Here, keep that open. Not the clips, the likes. This one, keep that open too. And the queue, keep the queue open. There we go. It hasn't been picked up yet. I'm worried. Sort by the timestamp, and so I grabbed that one. Wise Antsy Vampire Floof. Okay, sure. Back over to the queue, new message, post. Look at that, cleared out. Picked him up already. Product Hilarious Octopus Pete Zarrel Time. Whatever. Sure. Grab that. Back over to the queue. And there it is. It's going to process that. And, right, I don't care that it takes a minute or so to identify that, load it. When I look at my Twitch clips now and I scroll over here, the number of likes will match the number of, the real number of likes that are on the table. And it'll, instead of having to go and query and load all that data independently, it's now loading it. It's now already deployed and loading. So, let me close this, close this. I should be able to look at the actions and see that it's redeployed my Azure Static Web App. So let's go to the Azure Static Web App. That's called ClipTalk. And you do need to put the www on it. I've been trying to get the Apex domain working, but it's not. This is not a service bus. No, this is just a straight Azure queue. So there we go. And there. Now I'm not sure what to sort there. And I'm getting an error. What's my error here? Take a look at that. 401 unauthorized. That should have pulled out of local storage and refreshed automatically. There it goes. So Control F5 and it loaded. So I'm not quite sure why it's sorting that way. And actually, look, none of the likes are coming up. Right? The likes, right? That one's even showing that I like this one. And it's not rendering that properly. Problem. All right. Let's go back to the drawing board and see what we broke here. Let's do... right, when this runs and goes and gets the clips, it should go get clips using my repository, which is in services, all the clips repository, get clips, fix it. And oh, I'm gonna mark number 2 is done because it is deploying. Right, now we got to do this little fix here. Get clips. So clip likes. Shouldn't be doing that. That's not right. Well, wait a sec. No, it can get that. All right. Yeah. So, is liked by me, it is grabbing that. Good. So when this is being returned by the function here, sorting by likes divided by views, okay, but it's not showing me the number of likes yet on that user interface, right? Clearly that's got a value. It's like the Blazor client isn't showing it. Tell you what, let's look at the data being returned to the Blazor client. I'm going to do an F12 here so I can see the network. Let's reload. Right, the count isn't displaying, right? Here we go, get clips, this right here. So we look at the response. Right, the likes is coming up as 0. So when it's doing that mash, right, inside here, it goes and gets the clips. Wait a sec. That right there. There it is. Now that that's being returned with it, that needs to be updated so that it just flows through. Let me see. Let me set startup projects, and we should be able to see this. I just want the API and the client. The back office is running out on Azure. I don't need to do anything. That's out there and running. So I am just going to start, and we should see it running. Hey, Luke, we're doing well. You don't... Philippe asks... let me put that question up here. It's not a complete member-wise clone. Philippe asks... Come on, there it is. How do you do relationships in Azure storage tables? You don't. It's not a thing you can do. So, right, it's very much a NoSQL interaction here. Darn it, it's on the wrong domain. It's gonna get grouchy here about interacting with Twitch. Yeah. Yeah, it got a 400 trying to get that because it doesn't have... Right, security function, app access token is null. But... Right, so the app access token is the token that the application should be using. What was the call stack there that it was blowing up on? HTTP file. What's this reporting? Bad request. Get app access token. And you're not going to tell me. Well, fine. Be that way. What do we got here? So if we step into that, right? Where's it choking in here? Try that again. Go ahead. You can see the hat. Are you kidding? It's becoming less and less reliable. It really is. Right. The app access token. No, it is null. Okay, yeah. Else if it does not equal null, no. So now we need to go post it. There's my client ID, client secret. Right, and it is giving me a 400 bad request. Don't we have a client ID? Oh, we don't have a client ID. It doesn't have the client ID and stuff because my local settings aren't included here anymore. So, right, where Eagle was saying, well, don't include that. Yeah. I do need to include that for the purposes of being able to, right? And now I gotta do a properties over here, and I do want it copied if newer. Because the settings weren't there. It wasn't getting my client IDs and secrets. So, can I show one of the Razor files? Sure. What would you like to see about the Razor files, Legend Studio?
Now we know.
There you go.
And knowing is half the battle.
All right, now we should have a client ID here. Yes, good. Client ID is like your public key. So I'll let that run and... Oh, hey, Bald Bearded Builder is here. Hello. Hello, hello. Good to see you. He's running his... that's Clip Talk. He's running his Blazor Week promotion this week. There we go. That's showing. There's all the things. And it is now showing the number of likes down the side. Fantastic. All right. Commit it, ship it, make it so. Fixed the fixed the likes. Yeah. Fix the likes on the index page. Now when I push that, it should go and redeploy everything. You fool. There we go. Awesome. And while that's loading and redeploying, there was a question, can you show me some of the .razor files? Sure. What would you like to see? Yes, I do still work at Microsoft. Chris, let me pin your question there, and I'm gonna show a .razor file here. So, right, so my index page, right, so if there aren't any clips, go load some clips. right? Loading. Otherwise, and I've got a very simple bit here. Show my sidebar and a for each on the collection of clips that I do have, if there are any. And pass along, here's the information about the clips to show. Now, each one of these things here, clip, sidebar, these are components that are defined over here in Razor files that have the same name. So my sidebar says if we know who you're following, right? If we have the collection of other channels that you're following, right now I'm just outputting an unordered list item, right? Just a bulleted list. So we'll clean up this look and feel so that it looks and feels better. Luke asks, let me go to Luke's question here before I go to Chris. Is Razor HTML or is it XML? Razor is a mashup of C# and HTML. It does prefer to have completed tags, right? You can't start a tag and complete it in another component. You need to have completed tag sets in a file, and they do need to match, just like XML does. So it's a bit more like XML, but you're not required to have self-closing tags, right? You can, I can have like a link tag, right? It does the self-closing. So I guess it is a little bit more like XML without some of the ceremony. Yeah, it's a superset of XML. I think that's a good way to describe it, yeah. And that kind of leads into Chris's question here. Saw me asking for some CSS web layout help on Twitter after Friday's stream. Have I got any rough design concepts in mind? Are you happy to just get some PRs into review and accept them if I'm happy? Yeah, I'm looking for some pull requests that simplify and make this look a little bit more polished, right? Right now, I want to show the list of channels that you follow down the side here, but I'd like this to be right up against, and just like it does now, right? I want this static while you're scrolling. So, and we'll actually turn this into a little bit more going on here, where it's not just showing you, well, here's the folks that you follow that have clips, but hey, let me show you some, right, a discover pivot on this, right? 2 tabs here, one following, one discover. And discover, let me show you some of the cool other folks out there that are doing fun things on Twitch clips with Clip Talk. So now I refresh, now I see the like numbers, and it is sorting appropriately there. So we've even got, right, here's the one from InstaFluff, right? So
every time Red says something, I read it in his voice. Right. It's so true. It's super true. Holy cow. He's like, got this velvet voice, and he explains and says, oh, looks like we have to do this today. All right. And so I'm going to explain to you how this works in .NET, and let me show you. All right. So we're going to code this today, and then I'm going to wear this hat, and I have a different hat for every day, but I'm a man of many hats. So, thank you for being here. And so, guys, you should follow C# Fritz. He's incredible, and he explains everything like you understand everything about the world, and everything will be okay. And then he's going to do the workshop this week on Friday about.
Yeah. So, make sure you check out InstaFluff. He's a friend. He's another member of the Live Coders, and thrilled that he took a few minutes to have some fun with me there. There's a question here from Chris. Can you undo a like? Sure. Right? So here, the ones that are filled in, I mean, maybe I should make that a different color than black for the heart. Right? But I can certainly undo the like, click it again, and it unfills and resets the count. And on the back side, it's going to redo the count for that. So Bald Bearded Builder, I tried fixing the top of that, and Azure Static Web Apps does not support Apex domains yet. I fought with this thing for hours, and it doesn't do it. So I was thinking about red also. It'd be easy to do. So that definitely works. I want to put a follow button up here. When write comments, I want you to be able to click on comments and have the comments pop up on the side over here, so we can go do that. Can't redirect it. I've tried doing that. C4 asks, what's an Apex domain? That's when you drop off the dub root on this, right? The dub. If I just go to there, doesn't work. So, I tried setting up, I mean, right, could I do a redirect over on my... Is there a way to just do that as a redirect? Just a hard redirect to the dub root? But if you do a redirect, right, a hard redirect, if you point to somewhere, it's going to... What do we got here? It's not going to... Okay. It's not going to keep all of the rest of the... What? No, I've got a whole bunch of error reports coming into my email. I'm trying to get my two-factor authentication up here. It's not going to keep the rest of the domain name, so you need to do it as like an alias, but you can't do it as an alias because Azure looks at the host header and flips it. Can't do it as a CNAME because it, I mean, it as a CNAME because it still looks at the host header and it drops it. It says, oh, that's not this domain. Give me a second here. There it is. There's my two-factor number. Gotta wait for that, and I'll key this in. Prevent myself from doxing myself on showing you all my domain names. Right. I think I can show you now that I'm down into the panel. Yeah, I can show you this. Right? No, you can't add Apex to the... This is a preview service. You can't add Apex to the site. Right? So if I go back to here and I go to the application, right? Custom domains. You can only put one on this. I can't add another. So I've tried right? I can't even click and modify this one. So I've tried deleting it and re-adding it, and it throws an error that you can't create an Apex domain as a CNAME. So, right, I've tried over here, right? I've tried adding an alias at the Apex, the @. So, yeah, look at that. You got a Fritz Pogger emote. Exactly, it's preview, right? And, right, to have it go to that same location, really what I should do is have it go to www.cliptalk.com, right? Save that change, right? So now, if you try to go to cliptalk.com, right? Safety risk, because now I'm pushing a, right? And bad cert domain. See, it website not found. Because Azure's looking at the host header, and filtering and routing you appropriately. So, I could put a reverse proxy in front of it, but, right, the other thing to possibly do is over here, right, get rid of that, yes, right, URL redirect record, have it go from host to cliptalk.com, right, and look at this. Right, what's unmasked and masked? Sure, whatever. So now if I go to cliptalk.com, oh, I'm still hitting the alias. Flush DNS. What is it? IP config flush DNS. Yeah. So I need to wait for that to come through. Right? Yeah, so redirect record. Right? Let's see what he got there. Source URL, destination URL. Yeah. So. Right, if I go back to just domain, it'll pop up there. Yeah, now I gotta wait for the DNS to propagate. Right, there it is. Cliptalk to www. Cliptalk.com. So, what's the wild card? No, don't want that. So, the redirect is working for you? Yeah, I'm still on. Because I went and requested it first. There it goes. Now it routes through. But I'm not going to get, right, if I go to a specific URL, right, it's, at least I'm going to get the reroute at the top level. I'm not going to get the CNAME type of effect yet. So. But those things work. How am I doing on time? About 10 minutes. I'm not going to get into creating comments. Let's improve the way this thing looks. The play button, we can make a little bit more prominent. I'm going to close that. Right, let me delete 3 and 4 because I'm not going to get to those. What? Yeah, there we go. I'm not going to do the GitHub hat. But make play button more prominent. Let's do that. There we go. All right. Right, so we need to do this. Did it automatically close that other issue? Yeah, it did. Oh, good. Back over here, right? Make the play button more prominent. Right, because when we look at that URL, right, it'd be nice if it stood out a little bit more. Luke, that is something... so MStew has a good comment there, and so does Luke. Let me start with Luke's comment first. Autoplay when you scroll. Yeah. That's something that... feedback that we got from chat from some of the folks that are providing some guidance for a user experience. I think it's something we want to default on, but allow you to opt out of. For now, I'm not going to have it run until I start allocating configuration, user configuration for these things. But it's something that I want you to be able to opt out of. Definitely something to make happen. Yes. Right, and I think... Right. What do we got over here? Comment system performance. What's hot? Creator opt-outs. Scroll and autoplay feature. So... it's there, and it's going to be in the set of features we finish here in December. CLW is here. Hello, hello. You don't have a strong opinion on autoplay, but it does make you want to punch the developer who added it in the throat. I see what you're doing there. I see that. Making it as something optional for folks. right, that you can opt out of, I think is the right thing to do. Make it play by default if you're not logged in, I think is good to kind of force discovery. You've been lurking. Oh, I see. So, MStew says the other thing noticed is the counters and buttons are not finger friendly. Agreed. This is another place where I think we need a little bit of CSS help, is for mobile scaling. Getting the mobile scaling of the video and the viewport working. You're right. It's not great yet. This is something that the enhanced features milestone, I want to have that done in December. It works good enough to work for now. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll make that better. You're absolutely right. It's on the to-do. So let me make that play button look a little bit better here. Let's clean that up. Now, that is in the middle of my Twitch player Razor, and it's right here. There's the play button right there. So, and it has a class of overlay play there. So we should be able to just change the CSS for this. And, right, so there's an on mouse over and a little bit of a background to it, so that you can see it, right? So let me run the application, and I'll tinker with the CSS in the browser, and then we'll push that CSS back into the actual style sheet, commit, promote, and it'll deploy in 3-4 minutes. So this should be easy to do. How you doing there, Aztec Consulting? Good to see you. Thank you, Luke. I'm glad you like the little to-do thing above me there. Autoplay is a way to boost views on videos without much user interaction, right? It helps with that lean back experience, right? Where, you know what, I don't necessarily want to be leaned in and hanging over it. So I feel like this, right? I mean, line height 405 pixels, right? And that's how we're kind of forcing it to that size. No, we haven't. Clips can't be added yet. If you have a couple of clips, Bald Bearded Builder, and any of the live coders, send me the stub tag for them, and I'll add them into our demo data here that we're working with. I'm happy to add them in so they're on, right? Discovering and loading more clips is after I get the base features working of liking. The number of views is already being reported here. Shares is going to be coming. That's really after we get some of the fit and finish here working. But comments is next, and comments is next, and then it's load more clips. We got to do some performance tuning there also. So, no, the intro clip here is it's not. Maybe we do need a welcome to Clip Talk clip that gets forced on people. So, is there a way to do the play button as a mask over the whole video so you could click anywhere on the video? It already is, right? It's an on click on the div that's back there. I've just announced this morning called Clip Talk that is going to make Twitch clip. Now, when you pause, that's now not my play button. That's now Twitch's play button, right? That one's mine. That one's Twitch's, right? So the div behind here, I should put on that div, that entire div, right? The pointer, right? So let me mouse over this here. I don't like. I think we can definitely move the position and all of that style. We can move that into a CSS class. But I should also put the cursor on there as well. So let me grab all of that. It's called overlay play. Let's go into my CSS file. There we go. Do I already have it here? Nope. Add it. Overlay play. So let's add in that default stuff that we have. Whatever. We want, right, cursor. Let's make that the pointer so it looks like the whole thing. I'd also, can I do overlay play hover? Is that a thing? With a div? Right, can I do that? Right, and right, do something like background color sky blue, right? And I'm gonna have to refresh because I modified the CSS directly. Yeah, it works on web, fantastic. Right, so that works, but I'd like it to be translucent. So I want an RGBA value, right? CSS color to RGBA. Let's go grab, yeah. Thank you. No, I'd like a complete map here, if you don't mind. Yeah. What's the RGB for sky blue? You make me sad. CSS sky blue RGB. Right, RGBA adds the opacity. There we go. Hex color, and it's 135, 206, 235. So let's do this. RGBA, right? What was it again? 135, 206, that's 125, 235. Right, and is it at the beginning or the end that the transparency is? I forget. Let's look it up real quick. You're not going to give me the syntax. Alpha, there it is. 0 to 1. So let's try making it. 1 is fully opaque. So let's try making it like 0.4. Right? Just throw a number out there. See what it does. I'm trying to mimic Twitch's, but make it a little bit cooler. That's better. All right. Cool. But what I still need to do, right? That makes it a little bit more prominent that there's a play button there, right? I feel like I should put at least a, I don't know. Part of me wants to put a background on that. But with line height 405, right, so I can kind of force it to the middle. You know? Definitely need to work on the player.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your ears.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your ears. And now you know. Did AI ever find this hat? Yeah, it did. Absolutely. Go ahead, Svava. Go ahead. Do the thing. Do the thing. I'm going to commit that change. I'm not necessarily going to mark that as fixed because I still think you need to be able to see it, and I need to figure out how to do the centering of that properly. Go ahead. Add it.
And knowing is half the battle.
Blue overlay and fixed pointer on clip thumbnail. Right? And that'll update and it'll deploy and it'll be up there on the main website in a few minutes, right? Thank you so much, friends, for joining me. I need to wrap it up here because I've got some stuff to fix. I've got some things I got to take care of from our video yesterday and from our video last week that we had over on the Visual Studio channel. I need to get those uploaded, promoted, and I have a blog post I want to push out that promotes all the things going on with the C# with C# Fritz show over on that channel. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop right here, but I am looking for some CSS help there on the website. Let's see what we can do to make things move around and look a little bit cleaner. So let me head over to the other view here, the main screen, and we can talk about what we want to do for a raid. Oh, look at that. The Fritzbot got that right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Let's see who's out there streaming on the big Twitch TV network that we can connect with and share some love with. Let's see what's going on out here. Looking down the side. Let's see, what do we got? I see Manning Publications with a streaming test. I don't know what that is. They're running a Math for Data Scientists event. Very cool. Starting soon, it says. Nothing too clear what's going on over there. Let me see. Let's do... Thinking. Let me connect you to, I like raiding Code Rush. Let me set up and let's raid Code Rush. If you're a subscriber of the channel, copy the first message that the bot just dropped in chat. Copy that out. We're going to announce ourselves loud and proud. If you're not a subscriber, that's okay. Copy the second line. Get ready. We're going to go see Code Rush. He's working on Card Maker. Making cards, I guess, with WPF. Let's set up that raid. Thank you so much, friends. I really appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some work on some YouTube videos. You should see a bunch of them get published later today. Tomorrow, I'm going to be a guest of Isaac Levin on his channel. We're going to be talking about open source, the streaming community, getting started streaming, talking about live coders, and more. Make sure you check out Isaac Levin. You'll see me talk about that on Twitter. I'll drop a message and a link over in the Discord, and that's tomorrow. Also, tomorrow afternoon, I'm giving a Intro to Blazor workshop to the MVP group. I forget what they call themselves in Amsterdam. It's a virtual talk that I'm giving tomorrow afternoon, my time, and they should be promoting that. I think they already mentioned it over on LinkedIn. Really appreciate you tuning in and joining us. I will see you next time. Get ready to go see Code Rush. Where'd it go? Where's the button? Get me out of here!